The proposition side will start in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, educators and members of the House. As young people looking toward the future, the debate we are having today isn't just a theoretical policy exercise. It is a direct question about what our world will look like when we inherit it. The opposition wants you to believe that the safest, most logical thing to do when a community faces environmental danger is to pack up, abandon ship, and relocate. But as a student standing on the proposition side today, I tell you that running away is not a strategy, it is a surrender. We define disaster mitigation as proactive actions. Things like engineering structured infrastructure, upgrading school shelters, building sea walls, and creating smarter drainage systems to face disasters head on. We define relocation as the state forcing citizens to permanently abandon their homes and move somewhere else. Our metric for this debate is simple. Which policy maximizes long-term community resilience while protecting the human rights and dignity of citizens? I will prove why mitigation wins this hands down through 3 points. First is protecting the social fabric. The second is economic common sense. And the third, facing the reality of our future climate. My first point looks at the massive human costs of relocation. The opposition talks about moving communities as if they are just moving boxes from a warehouse. But a community is a living, breathing ecosystem. It's the local businesses that sponsor our youth sports teams. It's the generational roots of family who have lived on the same block for a century. It's the support networks where neighbors look out for each other's kids. When the state prioritizes relocation, it actively tears the economy apart. It actively refuses to make the same ecosystem be together. Studies on climate displacement show that forced relocation leads to massive psychological trauma, spikes in poverty, and a loss for identity. Mitigations, on the other hand, allows us to stay. When a state invests in reinforcing a neighborhood, upgrading its infrastructure, and making homes disaster resistant, it does more than just save lives. It saves livelihoods. It allows a student to stay in their school, parents to keep their jobs, and communities to keep their history intact. My second point is about economic reality. Let's be honest about what the opposition is advocating for. Relocation is a logistical nightmare and a massive drain on public funds. The government has to buy up thousands of acres of new land, building entire grids of electricity, sewage, schools, and roads from scratch, and pay out billions of compensation for lost property. That is a bottomless pit of spending. Mitigation is vastly more sustainable. According to groups like the National Institute of Building Sciences, every single dollar spent on disaster mitigation saves society about $6 in future cleanup and recovery costs. By prioritizing mitigation, governments use taxpayer money efficiently. They upgrade what already exists instead of abandoning it. It makes far more of financial sense to invest in a stronger foundation today than it does to try and build an entirely new city somewhere else tomorrow. And my final point looks at the world my generation is going to inherit. The biggest flaw in the opposition's logic is the assumption that there is some magical, perfectly safe plan B land out there where disasters don't happen. In 2026, we know that climate change is making extreme weather completely unpredictable. A place that is safe from rising sea levels today may be ground zero for historic droughts or wildfires tomorrow. If we establish a precedent that says as soon as it gets tough, we abandon our cities. We are setting ourselves up for a future of permanent internal refugees. We will spend the next 50 years constantly running from one temporary safe zone to the next. Mitigation is about standing our ground. It forces our architect, our engineer, and our politicians to innovate. It forces us to build resilient, future-proof cities that can adapt to the environment. rather than fragile towns waiting for an evacuation order. Dear adjudicator, relocation treats people like chess pieces. They can just be swept off the board and placed somewhere else. Medication treats people with dignity, recognizing our homes, our schools, and our histories are worth fighting for. As students, we don't want a future where we are constantly retreating from the planet. We want a future where we build stronger, smarter, and resilient communities. For these reasons, I strongly urge a vote for the proposition. And from me, thank you.